Okay, so let's dive in. If you're leading an engineering team, you know it's a complex landscape. You're juggling teams, projects.
Right. And there's always that question hanging there. What's the right leadership approach? And maybe more importantly, when is it right?
Exactly. So today, we're really getting into leadership styles, not just listing them, but thinking about them as like a toolkit you can actually use.
A versatile toolkit, yeah.
Yeah.
Because one size definitely doesn't fit all here.
We'll touch briefly on some of the big ones people talk about: autocratic, transformational, servant
It's
leadership.
democratic, laissez-faire.
Mhm.
The usual suspects.
Right. But the really interesting part, I think, is how situational leadership gives us a framework, a way to adapt these styles depending on your team where they are.
Mm-hmm. Knowing when you need to be directive with someone new or maybe coach someone who's growing, or when to step back and empower an expert.
Yeah, think about a time maybe your team felt stuck. Was it not enough direction or maybe too much? This should help clear some of that up.
And what's fascinating is that each style has its strengths, obviously, but also, potential pitfalls people don't always consider, like autocratic leadership.
Okay, the classic top-down.
Yeah, gives that clear direction. Great when time's short, you need a quick, decisive call.
Makes sense.
But the challenge isn't just making the call, it's owning it completely, the success or the failure. And you risk disengagement if you keep changing direction.
That's a good point. And building on just giving direction, transformational leadership brings in that inspiration piece.
Right. Connecting the work to something bigger, stimulating people intellectually, thinking about them as individuals.
But the risk there, maybe setting the bar too high,
Yeah,
making it unsustainable.
exactly. Or losing that energy if you're not constantly fueling it. It requires a lot from the leader.
Then you have like the complete opposite almost, servant leadership.
Yeah, it flips that whole hierarchy. The focus shifts to empowering others, serving them ethically, lots of empathy, listening.
Building community, fostering growth.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
it is. But it can sometimes be seen as inefficient. Or maybe like it undermines traditional authority if the leader isn't also willing to, make those tough calls when needed. It's a balance.
And democratic.
Yeah.
That's about collaboration, right? Bringing everyone in.
Leveraging the group's brain power, especially for complicated stuff. It's transparent, empowers the team members.
But it could take forever to decide anything.
That's the critical challenge, yeah. Managing that process, potential conflicts.
Hmm.
It needs really skillful facilitation. You can't just count votes.
Okay. And lastly, laissez-faire, the hands-off approach.
Pretty much. You grant a lot of autonomy. It works brilliantly when you really trust your team, especially experienced folks. Lets creativity flow.
But is it just letting go completely?
Oh, that's the art of it. It's
Yeah.
not just delegating. It's what some call engaged detachment. Knowing when to step back, but also making sure the conditions are right for autonomy to actually work. You can't just ignore them.
Okay, so we have all these different styles. Autocratic, transformational, servant, democratic, laissez-faire. How do you actually pick? Which one do you use?
And that is exactly where situational leadership becomes so useful. It's basically an adaptive framework. It helps you figure out where your team members are, developmentally speaking.
Based on their competence and confidence, is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Competence, their skills and knowledge, and confidence, their self-assurance and motivation for a specific task.
So how do you gauge that? That sounds like the tricky part.
It is. But the model breaks it down into roughly 4 levels. Level 1, you've got enthusiastic beginners, high eagerness maybe, but low competence. They need a directing style S1. Meaning clear, specific step-by-step guidance. Tell them what, how, when. If you're too hands-off here, they'll likely flounder.
Okay, makes sense for novices. What about level 2?
Level 2. Think of them as disillusioned learners sometimes. Their skills are coming along, but maybe their confidence hasn't caught up. Or maybe they've hit a roadblock.
So they know more, but doubt themselves.
Kind of. So you shift to coaching S2. Still directing, but more explaining, more two-way conversation. You're selling the why and building that confidence. Just directing them now would feel micromanaging.
Right, that could be really demotivating.
Okay, level 3.
Level 3. These are capable people, but maybe cautious. They have the skills, but might hesitate to take the lead or full ownership. Competent, but confidence might vary, or they need reassurance.
Sweet.
Supporting S3. You facilitate, you listen, you encourage. You let them direct the day-to-day work, acting more like a sounding board. They need to feel trusted.
Got it. Empowering them to step up.
Yeah.
And the final level, level 4.
You're experts.
Yeah.
High competence, high confidence, high commitment. They know what they're doing and they're motivated to do it.
So you just Get out of the way.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Delegating S4. You entrust them with the task, the objectives, the responsibility. Low support, low direction needed from you. Check-ins, yes, but you let them run with it.
So situational leadership really blends elements from those other styles we talked about, like autocratic for directing, transformational or coaching styles for S2, servant aspects in S3.
And maybe democratic or laissez-faire vibes for S4, delegating. It's about matching the style to the person and the task.
Precisely. But the challenge, and it's a big one, is that constant need to evaluate and adapt. It takes effort.
Yeah, you have to really know your people.
Yeah.
And be willing to change your approach.
And getting that assessment wrong, well, it can backfire badly. You could stifle an expert by over-directing or frustrate a novice by under-supporting. It demands real perceptiveness.
So, wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway here?
I think it's that there's no single best way to lead. The truly effective approach is the one that fits. Fits the team, the individual, the situation.
And situational leadership gives you that mental model, that need to constantly assess competence and confidence, and then shift your style, directing, coaching, supporting, delegating.
A Lidley shift, yeah.
So as you're listening, maybe reflect on your own team. How accurately are you diagnosing their needs right now? How well are you adapting?
Because getting it right isn't just about efficiency. Getting it wrong can actively demotivate good people.
That's the crucial point. Mastering this adaptability, this balance, that's how you unlock the real potential in your team. You help them grow into that empowered, thriving force.